Welcome to the Tomorrow Zone Catalyst podcast. I'm your host, Deborah Rubin. This podcast is really about helping leaders to make sense of change as it's happening. And there's a lot of it happening right now. And I explore a lot of that in my new book, Enter the Tomorrow Zone, which is available right now on Amazon. Lately, it feels like the pace of change has shifted from not only fast, but it kind of is feeling relentless. And we've got AI evolving quicker than most organizations can train for. Human roles are starting to shift right before our eyes, and definitely before job descriptions can even catch up. And I don't know if you're seeing this, Jeff, but I'm seeing it. Strategic timelines feel like they're shrinking and compressing. And so,
yeah.
Yeah. So the question for leaders, how do you prepare people for a future that feels like it's changing mid-sentence? We're exploring today an essential skill for the age of acceleration, and that's improvisation. Not as comedy, though, but as cognitive agility, a skill for reading the moment, for collaborating while you're in motion, for making confident decisions, even when the script disappears. So today I am joined once again by my friend, Jeff Rogers. Jeff is a keynote speaker, best-selling author, and a storytelling champion who helps organizations move from stuck to unstoppable. And his work is blending design thinking, behavioral science, and improvisation to help teams develop what he calls the playmaker mindset. Jeff is actively exploring the impact of the acceleration decade we're in right now, where we're seeing change stack on top of change, organizations needing to build real adaptability inside their teams. So, Jeff, welcome to the show. It's so good to have you back.
It's great to be back. Thanks for keeping my room the same. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, I love what you've done with the place.
Right? Big changes.
Still unlimiting potential. Awesome.
It's the name of the game, especially now. Are you kidding?
Oh my gosh. Yeah. This is crazy. I was just at an event last week and we were having a chat on stage about where do you place your focus when everything is disrupted?
Yeah, right. When there is no solid land to step on.
Yeah. So it's interesting. So we can't really get away from this topic of AI lately. And you joined us back in episode 52. Where we discussed reclaiming creativity in the age of AI.
Yeah.
And interestingly, it was 1 full year into our brand new show. And here we are again. You're joining us at exactly the 2-year mark. That wasn't planned. It just happened.
They've been waiting out in the closet for 1 year. Thank you for letting me out and breathe, by the way. This is very nice of you.
So two years in, and we still have so much to figure out. So I know that you've been kind of diving into this issue of disruption and reinvention, and what do we do when it feels like the pace of change is just accelerating, and it's really hard to deal with these days. And I know that in the industry that I'm working in, and I suppose in many industries, leaders are feeling this pace of change accelerating.
Yeah, from both sides, right? From the customer side, from the client side, but also internally and from the board. I mean, leaders are getting really squeezed now in a way that they haven't before. I mean, there's always been pressure, right? You got to perform at a high level and have that vision. But now it's happening at such a speed and the revolutions are so fast that it's more critical now, I think, than ever to be adaptable and to have a team that is ready to adapt with you. And then I think that's more important than necessarily knowing what your next step is going to be. I think we finally hit that sort of seesaw where that adaptability, that ability to adapt is now more important than necessarily having a straight line vision of where you're going to be in the next 5 years. Because guess what? The next 5 years, you have no way of mapping that.
Yeah.
You should have no confidence in your 5-year plan. There's a couple of industries that can have that. I mean, mining, things along those lines. Although even that, but any other industry, healthcare, tech, finance, I mean, you name it, anything is going to start working on these much shorter time frames. And I mean, when I'm working with my clients on a strategy, we're going 90 days, and we're going 90 days to 90 days to really set up. Okay, we have an end, a zone in mind we want to get to, but we don't know if that zone is going to shift in 90 days. So let's get directionality as opposed to the map, because the direction we want to go is clear. The specific map and the steps we're going to take to get there, that's going to change by the time we get 90 days from where we are.
Yeah. And I'm curious just from your perspective, because I mean, like me, we've been in the business world for a while and have seen a lot of change across our careers. But just, from your perspective, what is it that's making this time in history so different from the changes that we've experienced in the past?
Well, I think certainly AI acceleration is just, 10,000 Xing, not 10Xing, but 10,000 Xing that acceleration. Insane. But I also think there's so much upheaval right now. Economic transformation is happening as well, right? So we've got this idea of this massive investment in AI and data centers, quantum technology, and all of these areas that we've never had before. And we have no way of forecasting how that will turn out. But I think the other thing that's really interesting is the end of the buffer zone, right? The space between when we make a bet and whether or not a bet will pay off is now gone. You literally, we don't even have the roulette spin of the wheel where you kind of wait while it lands on a number. It is there. Boom, done. Okay, now what? Mm-hmm. And so all of that affects us as, human beings. We're not used to going that fast. We're used to being able to react or respond in a way that allows us to prep for what's coming next. And we simply don't have that anymore. So all of those things I think are coming together as the ingredients that necessitate people to really come up with very, very different frameworks for how they're going to address what's coming forward. I've been talking about it in this acceleration decade that we're in right now, as you really have to have a startup mindset. You have to be able to adapt, flex, and be ready to improvise every single day, because that's how fast something can turn on a dime. I mean, in the finance world, when Silicon Bank, imploded, right? That was the ripples of that were felt by everybody, and it was done next day. Yeah, there was no, hey, has anybody done a wellness check on Silicon Bank to see if? I would say that would happen even faster now than it did. When was that? 3 years ago? Just a few years ago. I would think it would happen even faster now. So there's much less of the things that we could depend on that exist today. And so our need for being able to adapt is critical. And I think for leaders, it's critical for them to develop the space, the environment where the entire team has the ability to do that, knows how to do it, and is doing it in concert with everybody else.
Yeah. And, you said something interesting earlier, that the strategic time horizon is kind of collapsing, 5-year plan. So really,
I laugh at your 5-year.
Yeah. I mean, I was looking at an AI technology that I wanted to start experimenting with last week, and this week that's already disrupted and obsolete. So I'm like,
yep.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, I guess we're going to go with this next one. But it's interesting because with our inability to know the exact plan and the exact next steps or how things are going to play out, there still are some very important foundational things that we need to have in place. The values, the long-term vision, the why behind what we're doing, but the how is going to be changing all the time, as well as the context in which
Yeah.
we're living out that change. And so I know you talk a lot about improvisation, and you caught my attention because you talked about improv not for comedy but for cognitive agility,
Oh,
and
yeah.
that's something that we're looking into a lot at Tomorrow Zone. And when you said, you need to think like a startup, you need to act like a startup, I've actually dealt with teams in corporate environments where their leaders told them, you need to behave like a startup, you need to act like a startup. But no one who has only ever known employment even understands that mindset.
Right.
And
Right.
so, it's interesting though that like you have this skill that's maybe used in other environments that could be vital to the business world given the times that we're in. So I want to talk about improvisation as a leadership skill. And so when you're using that term in a business context, what does it actually mean? Because I've heard it in terms of, comedy and
Sure.
acting and whatnot. But what does that mean for business?
So I think one of the important elements to keep in mind is that improvisation is not a comedy skill. When you think of Sully Sullenberger landing the plane on the Hudson, right? The Miracle on the Hudson, all of that was improvisation. It was the utilization of experience, combining it with in the moment awareness to execute on a very high level, right? So paying attention to what's going on now, but taking all of that experience and using it at the same time. That's what improvisation is. So we use it today, and it was designed, as an art form in the U.S. in Chicago as a device for theater, and it became a comedy device, which is great because it's very surprising and yet it's very real in the moment. But it is absolutely a translatable skill. I call it a humaning skill. It helps us human. And
Humaning.
so, right? And so for leaders, what it does is the core fundamental values of it are about empowerment, about creating psychological safety, and about exploring what's possible. And so it's iterative, like innovation, like design thinking. If you hit a failure, hit a snag, that's great. You're going to yes and it and make it right. It is a safe space for trying those things. It's win or learn instead of win or lose. And so those are the key elements that leaders can bring to the table, is creating that environment where people can explore and discover that, and take those inputs that they're going to have to start getting now and start leveraging on a much faster basis. I talked about this in my LinkedIn post, was the idea that Southwest Airlines, right, is all about communicating with their customers and to make sure that they're doing the same thing across their entire brand. And so they just started letting in assigning seats with premium options. They're reinventing themselves. They're listening to what needs to be done and identifying it and doing what they can with it, making those changes. Red Hat and Salesforce, they're built on customer input, right? So they're constantly listening to their communities and bringing that in, and then leveraging what they can out of that in order to make themselves better, make themselves more applicable, make themselves closer to the customer. That's the other thing that's happening, is any of that space between you and your customer, you would better get rid of right now, because you need to understand what's coming. Trend spotting is going to become much more important now. You have to be able to see it coming down the road. And the only way to do that is to get inputs from outside, as opposed to the typical sort of language and conversations that occur inside, where you think you know what's going on, but you actually have no idea at all. And I'll tell you this, Google has been doing improv training for years. I've been working with Genentech and pharmaceutical companies for years, showing them the improvisational skills on a leadership side, on a management side, on a sales side. Salespeople make the best improvisers, by the way. They have a natural skill for it.
Yeah.
And it comes in all of these different names, right? NVIDIA calls it strategic jazz.
Oh, I like that.
which is it's a cool name for it, right? But it's improv. That's exactly what it is. It's figuring out what can be done with what the scenario is right now and moving forward towards that longer distance goal.
Hmm.
But yeah,
Well, I one thing that's really interesting to me is that, we're honoring the experience of the past. We're not losing sight of what we want to create, the future we want to shape. But what we're doing is empowering people to deal with now and
yeah,
bring all those things together. So you've worked with many teams, as you just mentioned, and what
yeah.
what have you seen happen inside of teams when people start to develop these skills of improvisation and listening more closely or building on each other's ideas, and so that they're responding in real time?
There is an openness that occurs that is always thrilling to see. People have the aha moment, right? They have that moment of, oh, wait a minute. I was afraid of this, but I know how to do this. We innately know how to improvise. It's built into us. We call it other things. We call it play. We call it discovery, exploration, all of those things. All of that is improv because we don't know. No one's got the script for what's going to happen next when we're experimenting, when we're playing, right? We just adapt to what actually happens. And when we're reminded that we have that ability, then all of a sudden we have the confidence to try some new things out. And we understand that with all of our experience, and all of us have all these incredible experiences stacked up, we can pretty much handle anything that comes down the road. And the more confident people get about that, the more they're willing to step out into it and seek out change, be comfortable in change, and find out how they can best apply the gifts that they have. That's really what Igniting Potential is all about. It's about unleashing that ability that we inherently have and then applying it in brand new ways. And so when I work with teams to do that, it's very fun, right? Because it is inherently fun to be a little surprised, to be, by yourself and by others. But you also are getting this incredibly deep experience of someone actually listening to you on an entirely different level. And so now you feel the value of that. So all of the brain chemicals are firing, the oxytocin, the serotonin, all of those bonding agents. So your team becomes stronger. They become less afraid of change, and they become excited by the idea of being able to tap into the potential that they actually have. And all of that comes from learning how to improvise. I should say relearning how to improvise, because we all really do naturally have the ability to do it.
I mean, it sounds like you're just, when you come in to work with teams, you're really reawakening
Oh, yeah.
an ability they already have.
Yeah.
Do you have any examples or stories of where that's or how that's happened for people?
There was a pharmaceutical company, I won't say the name, but that had, their product was going off label, or not going off label. It was going off of, the 7-year time that they can use it, and then it can become generic. Forget the term for that, but they were very nervous about that. And the team was very much afraid of what was going to come next. And so as we were starting to work together as improvisers and teaching them how to improvise, one of the exercises that we had them do was start to explore, what is that going to look like coming up next? How is that going to feel for them? So they were able to act as if they were already in the future and to explore what that felt like. And by doing that, they really expressed a lot of fears. I had one woman who was a part of this, who at the end of it was in tears because she didn't realize how much anxiety she had built up about this, and that everyone else felt it too. And she felt so included. The bond of that group, they were bulletproof together. I mean, they came together and they were like, okay, this is going to be scary, but we're here together to help each other, and we're going to do this, and we're going to figure this out and what's going to come next. They ended up coming up with a brand new use for it. It was going off patent. That's what it is. they came up with some ideas for different utilization based on some trials that were happening. And it was a really interesting exploration. It took a couple of years, but they actually brought it back on patent for a different utilization. So that only happened because they literally were exploring this together, and what their fears were that they had never shared with each other.
That's really powerful because, one of the things that I've learned is it's very hard for people to get into expansive, creative, future possibility mode when they're in fearful firefighting mode. And you were able to use this to help them time travel to the future and see, but then come up with a new possibility after dealing with it.
Yeah. And one of the two ways that I do that, two ways that I think are important to do it, no matter what you're using, but for improv, absolutely. One is to get into your body and out of your head. So we have them move. We have them actually physicalize some of these things, because when we're in our head, we're listening to that self-narrative that is, trying to make us safe, but in doing so, closing off our explorer, our internal explorer. So we definitely want to do that. The other thing we want to do is we want to lower the stakes for everybody. So that's what makes it fun. That's what makes it, people are, oh, we're having fun. We're laughing at this. And all of a sudden they realize, oh, wait a minute. I just did something I would never do in a million years. I just sang in front of everybody. We just did a 30-second commercial about a product that we created, from our little team in front of the entire company. Never in a million years did I see myself doing that, but now I'm getting applause for it. And so it's about, you have to change up the framework that they have in their head for how they carry themselves every day. And just listen to that sentence. You have to change up the framework that you carry yourself in every day. That's exactly what's happening to everybody, right? That framework is being changed. You're not changing it. It's being changed for you. So you have to be able to feel comfortable adapting to that. And when you've done it once in a safe environment, you're much more likely and much more able to do it in an environment that maybe is unknown. I won't say in peril, but it's an unknown environment. So you're willing to take a chance because you've done this before now, and you know that you have that ability.
This sounds like a really powerful exercise to kind of get your reps in, to practice that new way of adapting and behaving before the stakes are high. But also, I love the way you said, get out of your head. Yeah. I don't know how you said it.
Get out of your head. You got to get out of your head.
Get into your body. Because, I think about like what a normal day looks like, and like how often are we actually moving and changing our physical state. And you can spend so much time in your head. And with AI, it actually accelerates and expands very quickly how much time you can spend in your head. Now at a higher speed.
Yeah, right. Now coming at a higher speed.
Yeah. And just how exhausting that can be. Before we go too far, I just wanted to jump in. Like, where can people learn more about you and the work that you do?
Absolutely. Come see me at Jeff Rogers Unlimited. I absolutely am on a mission to get people to have the courage to explore and discover all of the potential that they have within them. And I am doing that through experiential keynotes and through workshops that I do for organizations, companies, associations. So if you're looking to really have an impactful and fun, because I think it should be fun, experience, then come to jeffrogersunlimited.com and let's have a talk.
So if you've shared a lot of really powerful approaches to help teams to navigate constant change. One of the things that you've talked about before, and I read about this in your book, is the playmaker mindset. And what does, in a business world, play doesn't often jive really well. It's about work.
Really?
Can we dive
I'm
into that a little
shocked.
bit? What does a playmaker look like inside of an organization that's facing constant change?
So a playmaker is somebody who sets the play, right? And if you think of basketball or football would be a quarterback or the linebacker on defense. A playmaker is somebody who sees the field and understand who is in the right position in order for the play to move forward. That's a playmaker. So it isn't necessarily the person who makes the shot. It's the person who understands who to pass it to, how to execute the play, the strategy, the vision that we have in order to achieve the goal that we want to achieve. In improv, everybody is a playmaker because we keep passing the ball back and forth. One of the key elements of improvisation is I've got your back. My job is to make you look good on stage. Your job is to make me look good on stage. So if we're both playing for the other person, we're both in a state of playmaker mindset. How can I make that person look good? What can I do to serve them in their role? And if they're doing the same thing for me, what we've got is this really virtuous cycle that's building on each other, that's taking us up to a new level. And so that's really what the playmaker mindset is about creating that environment, that space, that mindset that is in service to your customers, service to your teammates, service to your organization. And it's easy to do when your values align with those goals. And if, for that's not always possible for everybody, right? To have that situation or that scenario. So you have to find something within what you do that will enable you to be the playmaker. You have to find the values in what you do, what you deliver. And it can be just the idea of I'm going to help all of these people around me on my team. And by doing so, all boats rise. And so we're all going to take that trip together. So that's really the fundamental aspect of it, is being able to see what's going on, where the play is going, how the playing field is tilting. And I just like seeing me do this. This is a very cool thing.
Doing some jazz hands there, Jeff.
Yeah, right. And so the playmaker is really the person who is enabling the play to happen. And if everybody is doing that, everybody wins. Because at any point, any member of that team could take the shot or have the success or win the client or, fill in the blank. So that becomes really powerful, because how do you lose? If everybody is playing in that mindset, in that vein, I'm not saying you won't, but it's a lot harder to lose when everybody has that mindset.
Yeah, that is powerful. So for leaders who are listening today and they really want their teams to be more adaptable, to behave this way, what's a practical step that they could take right now to start building that capability in their people?
So I think start playing with it. And by playing, I mean, okay, how could we ruin this business meeting? Right? How could we kill our business in 3 moves? And everybody is going to go, wait, what?
Love it.
Have some fun with that. But the idea is, listen, start concentrating on the areas that you have the weakness. Identify them. Don't be afraid of them. Don't try and put them under the carpet. Just identify what they are. And if that does exist, if you find some big areas where you can absolutely, shore things up, you've just adapted. You've created the environment and then adapted to what you're going to do next in order to shore things up. Have a trend spotting session. Start getting people to think wider and deeper and start communicating with their customers, communicating with their industry associations, whatever that is, and bring it all together. Okay, what are we seeing? What are we hearing? Let's see if we, as people with all of this experience in the industry, can identify from all of these inputs what the wisdom is and where we should be pointing our ship. Yes. Right? So you start building those skills of adaptability. It also helps to understand there's so part of the Reinvention Academy, there's a thing called the Titanic syndrome that companies have, which is they're doing all of the things that got them to where they are and expect that to continue being the way things are going. And that's where they often run into an iceberg, right? Here's a quick, I loved when I found this out. The Titanic, do you know why the Titanic sank? Go ahead, take a shot.
Well, it struck an iceberg.
Yes, there it is. Exactly that. That's not the reason. The Titanic was built to hit an iceberg. It was built to straight on hit it. Where they made a mistake was all the ships up to that point had been made to try and avoid the iceberg. But because they tried to avoid it, it scraped the first 4 containers of the ship and it opened them all up. If they had gone straight on into the iceberg, they'd have been fine. It would have only collapsed the first 2 chambers of the ship.
I never heard that before.
Yeah. It's fascinating, right? But all of the experience going up to that had said, try and avoid, turn the ship.
So they're using a new tool and they're playing the old playbook.
They're playing the old playbook. And now think about that for a second. If we were to identify the new tool, what would it be? AI probably, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Are we using the old playbook with this new tool?
Yeah, and that's the big trap.
Yeah, exactly. So are we talking enough to really identify, okay, how could we use this differently? What should we be doing instead of what have we done in the past?
Yeah, or who could we become because of it? I think we need to elevate some of our questions, not just like, should we use AI? How should we use AI? How can we sprinkle AI on top of what we already do?
Yeah. And that's exactly it. Those questions. And that's where the adaptation comes from. Because once you start having those thoughts, you are already adapting to what you could become and understanding it better. So that I think if you're a little afraid of it, that's fine. Just start asking the questions. Start creating the space where you can ask those questions. And I think that's a good place to start, that they could start having the conversations and then bring me in to do an improv workshop so that they're able to do the rest of it.
Absolutely. I think, what would be interesting is if Tomorrow Zone led a trend scanning workshop followed by improv. So
that would be amazing.
That come out of it. And then what do we do with it? And we start, creating and adapting with you.
I would even go one further. I would create a sandwich. I would create an Oreo cookie. I would start with yes and, because I find that when we start with yes and people are open from the very beginning, the trend spotting becomes much more less negative.
Yeah.
And at that point, now you've really engendered people to think about things differently, and they're not going to be negated. They're not going to be put down, and they can start watering all of those different ideas to see which one really benefits, as opposed to the one that is deemed to be the least unsafe.
Okay, well, we're going to have to talk.
Great. Now we got work to do.
Yeah, I think that could be really powerful. I just came back from an event last week where we were doing trend scanning discussions and at an industry level.
There we go.
It can be very powerful. And the thing that we came back to is just what you said. It's with everything changing, where do we place our attention? I think that's the skill.
Right.
That we need to learn to navigate. Speaking of speed, we're already to the top of our time. So it's lightning round.
Oh, okay.
You ready for this?
Yes.
Okay, so we prepared these special for you. Name a leadership behavior that becomes more important as change speeds up.
Listening.
Yes.
Listening, deep listening. Yeah.
What is a signal that a team is truly adaptable?
I would say yes, and the way that they support each other. If you're seeing support, then you know your team is ready to adapt. They're ready to go. If you're not seeing that, or you're seeing people say no or tear each other down, not even major league, but just a little, then they're all in their silos still and they're not ready.
So I should have done this earlier, but you've said yes and several times, and some of our listeners might not know what you're talking about. In innovation circles, we usually do, but could you just give us in a nutshell what you mean by that? Yes and?
So yes and was developed in improvisation, actually. It has its home in improv, which is We use yes and in order to further a scene. And when we're on stage, we don't have a script, we don't have any costumes or anything else. We're just making it up. And so in order to further things, we don't want to say no. Oh, did you bring the groceries home? No. Oh, that's the end of the scene. That was not very interesting. But if you say yes, first you agree with what the offering is, what the initiation, what we call the initiation is, and builds upon it. I will take it one step further. Yes is actually acceptance that the other person has the right to an opinion, an initiation, an idea. You don't have to agree with it. By saying yes, you're agreeing that they have the right to that. The and is the bridge between what you think and what they think. So let's come together on that. It's not saying their idea is more important, less important, or any of those things. So yes and becomes incredibly powerful because it gives individual agency. It doesn't shut anybody down. And the and allows for and builds the bridge that people can come together behind an idea that they don't necessarily agree with individually, but as a group, as we built this third space, right? Starbucks. This third idea that came from both of our individual ideas, that one I can get behind. I don't have to agree with yours, but you have the right to have it. And I have the right to have mine. So let's meet in the middle and figure out how we can work together.
Awesome. Thank you for that. Yes. And when leaders get stuck during times of rapid change, it's usually because they're holding on to what? Fill in the blank.
Their old framework.
Oh.
It's their old mental model. That is, leaders are human for the most part.
Most leaders I've met are human, yeah.
Most. But they have an old mental model of what they want to work because they understand it. And I find that when they're open to what the reality is on the ground, it's the map versus the terrain. That's what it is. They're holding on to the map. This is the map. We designed the map. The terrain is different. It's changed. The river flooded and the rocks fell and it's not, can't make it that way. So if they can let go of the map and view the terrain, they're much more likely to adapt faster.
Love it. All right. Last one. And this is just a nod back to your jazz hands performance.
Sure.
If organizations were a jazz band, what role does a great leader play?
So can I answer that in a story?
Yes, please. National storytelling champion.
Herbie Hancock is on stage playing with Miles Davis. And Herbie Hancock is very young and he's new to the quintet. Miles Davis is playing the song and Herbie hits a note that he knows is wrong. He's played the wrong chord. Miles Davis, who played with his back to the audience, just gives a look over to Herbie, right? And he's Miles Davis. He's the greatest jazz trumpeter in the history of jazz. And it just takes a beat and then plays an entirely new piece of music based on the note that Herbie hit. And what he did afterwards, Herbie apologized. I'm so sorry. He goes, no, that was the right note at that moment. Miles Davis made that note correct by yes-anding it. And I think that's the role a leader can play, is to make what people are going for, assuming good intention, what they're going for correct. And then lead in a way that allows them to do that and to bring it all together. It won't necessarily go according to the map. It won't necessarily go according to the score that they're reading, the notes on the page. But that doesn't mean the answer is not the one that you've been looking for all along. So I think if a leader can do that in a jazz band specifically, then they're truly at the top of their form, top of their game.
Wow. Jeff, this was awesome. The time just flew by. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Absolutely my pleasure. Always a pleasure to talk to you, Deb. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah. And to our listeners, I hope that you took away some awesome wisdom nuggets from that. I know I did. And if this conversation resonates with you, check out my book, Enter the Tomorrow Zone, now available on Amazon. And if you
Which
see
is
yourself,
awesome, by the way.
Yeah, thank you.
All
And
right.
if you see yourself in it, book a call with us. We'd love to explore shaping the future with you. As always, we love it if you like, subscribe, share the episode with a friend. Thank you again for tuning in. And until next time, stay curious and choose to make awesome happen.